Thanks for coming in. I know you want to ask me about being at Maricopa for 20 years. That's a hard question for me. I mean, it's hard for me to remember that far back. 1977? Wow, that's a long time ago. I guess what I do remember, though, were the challenges that we faced. Holy smoke, here I was, a new kid on the block, walking into a boiling pot of activity, a virtual cauldron of politics, differing views, holy smoke. But it sure was a challenge, trying new things, overcoming every kind of obstacle. I was full of ideas, and some of them even sounded far out, even to me. But you know, as I think back, I'm not even sure why the board picked me in the first place.
Well, if you'll write down the qualifications you believe necessary for the assignment, our computer will give us the ideal man. Stand by, computers.
Here they are, 1977's latest and greatest. Just look at those babies. They're huge. They've got their own power systems and their own air conditioning. And believe me, they need them both. Pretty impressive. In the back of my mind, though, I keep thinking that there must be some way to bring this kind of computing power to our students. And somehow we'll do it. But first, some more fundamental changes need to be made. 1978 is the year we get started with one of the most fundamental changes of all. We established Rio Salado Community College. The big deal here is that Rio is a college without walls. We form partnerships with business, and we offer courses to employees at their places of work. And we begin to pursue distance learning. In this way, we start to reach those who cannot even leave their homes, those who are disabled, single parents, and a great many seniors. Of course, we haven't forgotten our great traditional colleges, but we've made some changes to them too. For one thing, we've moved toward a system of campus autonomy, putting the various college presidents in charge and letting them handle the things the way they can best be handled to meet the needs of their students and their faculties. We brought in cafeteria-style course lineups, giving everyone more options. We're also among the first community college districts to set up a foundation. Now, this is important not just for the money it raises, but also for the chance it provides to form additional alliances with business and corporations who have come to know us very well. Through these, we're able to better reach out to their employees. Now, developing a national image has been important too. Recruiting across the United States for faculty members.
But they can't do this to me. They can't do this to me. If they want me, they're going to have to come and get me, that's all.
And developing Maricopa Community College calendars that we distribute nationwide, all have contributed to our national image. Man, we began to see these calendars all over the place, at foundation offices, in New York, every place. Gaining that national exposure is important because it helps us find the right kinds of corporate partners who can help us grow and who we can help grow too. I not only wanted our people to start thinking on a larger scale geographically, I also wanted them to start thinking about technology in a very different way. So all of our employees really went back to school, taking a course based on something many of you may be familiar with, Ontario's public television series called Fast Forward. It helped push our thinking not only outward, but ahead too. Hey, don't forget to tell them about your success in labor negotiations. Oh yeah. Well, Maricopa also became a national labor relations training center, helping others understand labor laws. It also expanded our partnership beyond management and toward the labor market too. And not long after that, our faculty went on strike.
A riot is an ugly thing. But I think that it is just about time that we had one!
Ha! Not as smart as you thought. Whoever is. You've got a point there. Who are you, anyway? I'm you, only about 10 years further along. I'm going to look like you in 10 years. Yikes. Believe me, pal, this is no picnic for either of us. You know, though, no one can say that we didn't make a lot of progress in those early years. Well, we put in a lot of place, a lot of structural changes that helped expand Maricopa's thinking and vision. And you'll be happy to know that that vision continued into the 80s. In fact, the vision was the name of our major program. You see, even though a person or organization might be going through a lot of changes, it's easy just to keep on seeing things, to keep on thinking about things in the same old way. At colleges and universities, people would say we're too isolated, too ivory tower. Now, the only way I know of to change that is to do something radical, like change your environment or get out of that ivory tower. So with Visions, we invited our employees, not just instructors, but staff people too, to design internships that would get them into another area of our organization or out of the colleges entirely. The idea was to get them out into the so-called real world and have the opportunity to see things from another point of view. Well, we learned that there were a lot of things out there we didn't know, and that there were a lot of things inside our own system that we needed to learn about. Now, one thing that came out of the Visions program was the Chair Academy. You see, we realized that just being promoted to a position of department chair does not necessarily make you a department chair. You need to learn more about management and how to effectively contribute in your new position. We must have discovered something that a lot of other educational institutions were searching for, because our Chair Academy has become known around the world for its training programs and annual conference.
All those scientists, they're all alike. They say they're working for us, but what they really want is to rule the world!
One of our forays outside the college uncovered the ROM Corporation in San Jose, California. They were finding ways of treating their employees in a very holistic fashion, helping employees be more fulfilled in their work, and as a consequence, more productive. ROM was making use of quality circles, and in 1982, so did we, well before TQM and all that became so popular. Some of our employees told us they thought they could work more efficiently from home. So well before we'd heard of electronic cottages, we set up the structures that enabled them to do just that. The other big conceptual change came, believe it or not, when we established fitness and wellness centers at our campuses. Now I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but we opened these centers to everyone. You didn't have to be taking a physical education class. You didn't even have to be a student or staff member. If you wanted a place to work out, you were welcome to come in. That simple little move helped us reach a lot of people who would otherwise never had set foot on a community college campus. And that gave us a chance to show them what we were all about and to give them some of our literature. Well, and you can see how that could snowball. It paid off. In 1984, we had a big bond election.
Bond. James Bond.
You have regular taxes that provide for your everyday needs. But when you want to start a new campus or do something else that's going to be very, very capital intense and very large, you ask the voters to pass a bond issue whereby they'll pay a little more in taxes over a set number of years.
Please, sir, I want some more.
More?
You can imagine the success or lack of it that a lot of these efforts meet. But in 1984, right in the middle of the supposedly conservative Reagan years, we were successful. And here's what some of that money went for. High-tech centers, huge areas the size of football fields, simply filled with computers and terminals. Places where students could receive courses, perform research, or do assignments on computer. This was pretty big news, and it really gave us a jump start as far as showing people what we could do with technology. And within a couple of years, we were approached by GM to serve as the site of a national training center they were setting up. It was the first time an international corporation had ever entered into a partnership such as this with a community college. We felt this was a real breakthrough. It allowed us to put what we've been doing with local business to use on a much greater scale. Well, I'd been at Maricopa for just about a decade, and I was tired. I was ready for some time off.
Run away!
So I took an administrative leave, and I had some property in a town in north central Arizona named Prescott, and I set to work building a home of adobe. Now, I don't know how much you know about adobe, but it's a construction material made mostly of mud and straw, and it's very labor intensive. You form it into blocks, and you let it dry, and voila, you have bricks. It's the way many of Arizona's ancient Indians built their homes. It really gives you a sense of grounding to do something like that, an idea what survival is all about, and you have an awful lot of time to think. A lot of time to think. Now, during the process of building my home, I became acquainted with a Native American muralist, and he painted this mural for me, and it represents a theme of creation and fertility and harmony, but it reminds me of the shift of my thinking took, of a realization that the previous 10 years had been about and why I've done things as I had. The structural changes, the partnerships, the technology. I could finally see how it all fit together and how the next steps would fit in. I also saw that my administrative leave was about up and it was time to get back to work. So back to work at Maricopa I went. And I found that they had gotten along quite nicely without me. Thank you very much. And we were starting to get some formal recognition for our work at this time. And in 1990, the Association of Community College Trustees presented us its award for the most innovative leadership. In 1991, the U.S. News and World Report publication, which ranks colleges, named Maricopa as one of the top colleges in the U.S. In 1992, our think tank won the Business Higher Education Forum's Anderson Medal, a very prestigious award. And in 1994, we won the voters' approval for another bond issue, and more than 25% of this one, $100 million, going to high tech out of the $400 million bond. Then in 1996, there was the American Association of Community Colleges Leadership Award. Enough already. You should hear yourself. Hey, I'm only stating the facts. Enough already. That's too much bragging. Wow, sometimes my dreams get carried away. I always just like to think that people know what they're doing here and that everything we've done has been for the ultimate benefit of the students. It's hard to remember what I looked like 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. I remember those bow ties and those dark suits every day. And I wonder what I'll look like in 10 more years. Well, no way to know that. A lot's happened in the last 20 years, though. But that's not really important. What's important is what we do now and in the future. And I don't know how we'll meet the demands for more computers. And how do we get all this technology stuff to the people who can't afford it? How do we deliver more courses over the internet? How can we afford to produce CD-ROMs to match the videos and the quality of MTV, to match the video standard that everybody expects? How do we reduce costs for students? How do we keep our staff and faculty from burning out? I just don't know. I just don't know. Hey, Elsner, you don't seem to really know much of anything. I was so sure of my vision back in 1977. And look how it's all changed. Yeah, whatever happened to TQM and quality circles and all that? Weren't they the answer to the future? Guys, take it easy on this poor fellow. He's just as lost as you were. He's doing the best he can. But he's still just winging it, just like you did. And I suppose just like I am here in the year 2010. I can tell you, though, the 90s and the new millennium are a lot clearer from here than from where you fellows are. See this? With it, I can access nearly any information I need, just as the ATM cards we had in your days could be inserted into a terminal and automatically find the right bank account to withdraw cash from. So can terminals today, anywhere in the world, read my thumbprint and immediately know who I am and what I might want. My bank account, my medical history, my resume, it's all here, for all practical purposes, in my thumb. And when I press my thumb to this computer, well, don't ask how much more powerful it is than those clunkers you're all so proud of. When I press my thumb to it, I'm automatically linked to whatever office or personnel files I want to work with, all with blinding speed. No transmission errors, all completely secure, well, mostly. But enough of that. I really must be going. Before you go, I just wanted to say, nice suit. I thought you'd like it. You bought it in 1972, and I'm glad we held on to it. Come on, guys. Let me show you this thing. You know, I really kind of like that silvery suit look. You just never know what the future might look like, do you? Boy, I sure don't. I just know that working with great people has made the last 20 years an absolute pleasure. And I'm looking forward to the new millennium. And I think Maricopa is going to continue to do just great.